وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر الله أكبر. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن عليًا ولي الله. أشهد أن عليًا حجة الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. حي على خير العمل. حي على خير العمل. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم اجعل رزقي داره وعيشي قاره، واجعل لي عند قبر نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وآله قراره ومستقره، وعجل اللهم فرج محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين، واجعلنا من أنصاره يا كريم. وصل عليه وعلى آبائه الطيبين الطاهرين.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى قيام يوم الدين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي أما بعد. Dear mu'mineen and mu'minat, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I begin by offering my dua and best wishes and congratulations. Today is the second day of Eid. Yesterday, or according to some calculations, the day before, was the day of Eid al-Adha, a day of gratitude and also prayer and celebration for Muslims throughout the world, and a day of remembrance of the sacrifice of Allah's Prophet Ibrahim alayhi wa ala nabiyyina wa alihi salatu wassalam and his family. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. According to some narrations, after the occasion of Eid al-Adha, the main occasion that we have in the Islamic calendar is the commemoration of the birth of our 10th Imam, Imam Ali ibn Muhammad al-Naqi al-Hadi alayhi as-salatu was-salam. Salatu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Imam Naqi was our 10th Imam. He was the heir to the knowledge of our Prophet and the leadership of the Muslim Ummah, and it was a very difficult and sensitive time in the history of Islam, and in particular the followers of Ahlul Bayt. The oppression of the government at that time had reached its peak, and not only were the followers of the Imam always under government surveillance and in difficulty and oppressed, but even the Imam himself, he lived the majority of his life, or we can say the entirety of his life, in a state of house arrest and under strong government surveillance. And one of the lessons we learn from Ahlul Bayt in general and from Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam in particular is how to live with dignity and grace even in difficult circumstances, even under oppression and in adverse circumstances. It is possible for a person to live with dignity, with purity, with grace, and not to respond with negativity, with pessimism, with hopelessness because of the hardships that they may be facing. Imam Ali Naqi, he became the Imam at a very young age, almost the age of 8. Upon the martyrdom of his father, our 9th Imam, Imam Muhammad al-Taqi al-Jawad alayhi salam, in the year 220, just about 2 centuries after the death of our beloved Prophet. And he remained the Imam for about 34 years. So it was a lengthy period of imamat, even though he became Imam at a very young age. but he remained the Imam for an entire generation, 34 years, until his own martyrdom in the year 254. And then it was just a short time until the beginning of the Ghaibah. So the imamate of our 11th Imam was only about 6 years. The longer imamate was the imamate of our 10th Imam. And this imamate was actually the preparation for people to become ready for the absence and the occultation of our 12th Imam, the Imam of our time, Hujjat ibn al-Hassan al-Askari, alayhim as-salam. So that period of house arrest and lack of access that the Shia were not able to go to the Imam and ask their questions, that was actually a period of preparation. And although it's not a perfect comparison, but just to give an idea, imagine that you have a parent that you can go to for any kind of advice or guidance that you may need. There are many children, they go straight from their parents' house to living completely independently. Maybe when they get their first job or internship or they go to college, and they go from never having to cook their own meals and do their own laundry and make their own budget. Maybe they don't even have an income because they are given an allowance by their parents. The parents take care of the car insurance and the gas and the cell phone and all of those needs. So they have really no responsibility and no practice in making adult decisions. And then all of a sudden they go to having to take care of everything on their own. They won't know what to do. They are now an adult. They may even have read or learned what to do, but because they don't have the experience, it isn't easy. And that is why it is important for parents, and it is the recommendation of our Prophet and our Imams, alayhimussalam, that when your children have attained physical maturity and bulugh, give them responsibility. Tell them what is going on in your life and inform them and get their advice. At 14 or 15, your child might not give you constructive advice because they don't have experience. But your seeking advice for them is going to benefit them more than it will benefit you, because it will train them and ready them to understand adult responsibilities and to eventually take care of their own family and their own needs, so they will be prepared when they are independent. And then they will still consult and benefit from their parents, but they will be ready. So that transitional period is very important in the growth and maturity of a human being. And if a person doesn't have that, then many of us, we may have friends or we may have seen around us, or maybe we ourselves were subjected to it. Your initial decisions when you get your first paycheck, when you get your first taste of independence, are not always positive and constructive because you were not ready and you were not prepared for that stage of your life. So the same thing applies to the life of our Imams. Allah prepared the community of believers and followers of Ahlul Bayt that until now you had your father, you had your Imam, you had your guide, you had your teacher present. And especially in the time of our 5th and our 6th Imams, people would come to the Imam not just with their fiqhi questions, but even if they had a child, they would come to the Imam for dua and to ask the Imam what they should name their child. If they had a health issue, they would come to the Imam for advice on what foods they should eat and how they should treat themselves for their physical health. They had ready access to the Imams. It is not easy to go from that close and intimate, frequent access to being separated from your Imam, even at times of desperation and need. So Imam Ali Naqi alayhi salam, his imamat was a partial preparation, a transition phase, for the community to mature. Just like a parent will give their child a trial period or a transition period to learn and mature, they are still under the guidance of their parent, but they are making some independent decisions and they are learning how to be an adult. Now let us look at some of the teachings of our 10th Imam, the Imamat that was a period of preparation for the Shi'i community to be ready for the trials that will come in the future, which will include persecution and hardship and difficulty and all of the hardships that are part of life. The first hadith, it is attributed from Imam Ali al-Naqi al-Hadi alayhi salam. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. That he says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ جَعَلَ الدُّنْيَا دَارَ بَلْوَى وَالْآخِرَةَ دَارَ عُقْبَى. Allah has made this world a place of trial and test. And He has made the hereafter a place of reward and everlasting consequence, reward or punishment, as the case may be. وَجَعَلَ بَلْوَى الدُّنْيَا لِثَوَابِ الْآخِرَةِ سَبَبًا. And there is a relationship between the two. The balwa, or the test of this world, is a preparation and a cause for the end result and the consequence that you will get in the hereafter, the reward or the punishment. وَثَوَابَ الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ بَلْوَى الدُّنْيَا عِوَضًا. And then that reward of the hereafter is a compensation for the test of this world. This is a very important message, because many people, they want to seek happiness and pleasure just through the means of this world. And that would be, for example, for me to buy a tool that is not meant to take care of one task and to try to force it to do another task. There are certain tools that we buy, they are meant to be used lightly. And then if I take them to a commercial environment and I use them from morning till evening, they will burn out very fast. That's not a fault in the tool. It was designed and it was built and it was maybe very appropriate for the purpose that it was built for. But I should not buy something that is meant for occasional use and to expect it to be used heavily, or vice versa. If I drive my car on a spare tire that is not meant to have the same capacity as a regular tire, and then it causes a problem, I shouldn't blame the tire, I should blame myself. So somebody who puts their hope in this world, that I want to get happiness in this world, they shouldn't blame fate or luck or God or circumstances or family or anything else for saying that I'm not enjoying myself, I'm not happy, I'm not at peace. That is the nature of this world. It was meant to be a test. And yes, we do what we can to live well. And we do what we can to provide security and tranquility for ourselves and our loved ones. But we never expect that I'm not going to get sick, that I'm not going to have trouble and I'm not going to have hardship. One of the best ways to achieve tranquility in this world is to recognize what this world is good for and what it is not good for. Just like that example of a tool, this world is meant to be used lightly and taken lightly and not taken too seriously, because it is temporary and it is going to come to an end. And our soul and our eternal existence is not of this world and for this world, it is for the hereafter. If I take the world too seriously, then I will get disappointed when I don't meet all of my goals. But if I understand what this world is good for, I will enjoy the food, the company, the benefits, the resources of this world, and I will live a good life As the Quran says, لَنُحْيِيَنَّهُمْ حَيَاةً طَيِّبَةً. If you have iman and amal salih, Allah will give you a good life. But then more importantly, وَلَنَجْزِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْرَهُمْ بِأَحْسَنِ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. But you will have the best reward in the hereafter, because that is what we should take seriously, and that is our true life and our true existence. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And one other hadith that we have from our 10th Imam is a very comprehensive, even if it is a very brief hadith. الناس في الدنيا بالأموال وفي الآخرة بالأعمال. Even if you're not fluent in Arabic, you can remember this hadith. And this is a gift from Imam Ali Naqi to all of us. الناس في الدنيا بالأموال. In this world, people are going to get respect and honor based on their money. And you can try this experiment. That dress kind of shabbily, as if you are poor, and go and try to get service, maybe at a business establishment or something, and you might get ignored or get a very superficial answer. And then show your credit card or give a hint that you are just an eccentric, weird multimillionaire. So your physical appearance does not reflect how much money you actually have. And all of a sudden, the same person who may not give you the time of day because of how you are dressed, when they see your phone or when they see your fancy accessories or when they see your expensive car, then they might think of you very differently. If you express a very mature and considered opinion, but you look poor, people might not take it seriously. But then if you are a tycoon and you say something foolish, then at least you will have a voice, even if people will criticize you, but you will be taken much more seriously. That is the nature of this world. It is not good, and it is not right for us to follow that culture, but it is human nature, even among Muslims. A person who is more sincere and more devoted to their family, more devoted to their community, more willing to sacrifice, they may not always be appreciated as somebody who is rich. That's because even if we are Muslims and we have a different value system, we are also human beings and part of human nature. But remember, that is because people in this world can only see with the horizon of this world. In the hereafter, that is not how it's going to be. The multimillionaires and the tycoons are not the people who are going to have honor in the hereafter. And if we believe that the hereafter is our true life, then even in this world we should train ourselves and we should practice to value things according to the standards of Allah and the standards that are going to count in the hereafter, and not the standards that are going to count in this world. If الناس في الدنيا بالأموال, then وفي الآخرة بالأعمال. It is their actions that are going to determine their respect and their value in the hereafter. And that doesn't mean that money is not important. Money is one thing that allows us to do good amal. But it does mean that the playing field is leveled. And if somebody does not have money, then they are not at a disadvantage. Because it is their amal, their actions, their sincerity, their devotion, their intention that is going to determine what they will receive in the hereafter. Because inna akramakum indallahi atqakum, your piety. So Imam Naqi alayhi salam, he has actually given us a contrast, but he's also given us a means that if you want to see the importance of amal salih, then look at how much people are impressed by money in this world. And that is what will bring value, and not just people being impressed, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving reward. And make an effort that if you have money and you use your money well to do ibadah, to go for hajj and umrah and ziyarah, to help your family members, to take care of their needs, to pay their debts, to contribute to your community, then don't value what you are doing on the basis of what you are giving or how much you are doing, but on the basis of the intention and the sincerity that motivates you to work in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because that is your amal, which will be valued by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah make us all sincere followers of Ahlul Bayt and able to benefit from the teachings of our Imams, and in particular Imam Ali Naqi alayhi salam. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar fasalli li rabbika wanhar. Inna shani'aka huwa al-abtar. Sallu ala Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى علي أمير المؤمنين وعلى فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين وعلى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة وعلي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والحجة بن الحسن القائم المهدي صلوات الله عليهم أجمعين صلوات. In this second khutbah, I want to thank Allah for His blessings and His bounties. And in regard to the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just mention one hadith attributed to our 10th Imam, Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam, which pertains to gratitude. It is reported that our 10th Imam has said, "Ash-shakiru as'adu bish-shukr minhu bin-ni'mati allati awjabat ash-shukr." When you are a grateful person, then you have two favors, two things that make you lucky. One is that there is something that you are grateful for. And one is the fact that you are grateful. Let's say, for example, I have loving parents. They care for me. They are always concerned about my well-being. Maybe they sacrifice their own comfort for my sake. It is a blessing to have that ni'mah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But it is also a blessing to recognize and to appreciate the ni'mah. Now, of the two, which is more important? Gratitude is more important than anything that you might express gratitude for. Why? The Imam says that لأن النعم متاع. The blessings that Allah gives you for which you are grateful, the food, the care, the health, whatever material bounties I might be grateful for, the thing itself is mata'. It is something that is present for me, and then it has a limited life. I use it, I consume it, I benefit from it, but then even our family relationships with our parents and our children and our siblings and our spouses, in material terms, those relationships come to an end when we die. Not in spiritual terms, but in material terms. Even those very long-standing and important relationships, they will come to an end. That is mata'. But وَالشُّكْرُ نِعَمٌ وَعُقْبَةٌ. When you are grateful, that is a bounty, but it is everlasting, and that will stay with you. And that is how you convert a material blessing to a spiritual and everlasting bounty. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us appreciative, to recognize and to thank Him for the blessings that He has given us. This is one way that He preserves those blessings for us when we are grateful. But most importantly, we ask Allah to keep that state of gratitude in our heart and in our intention, so that whatever blessings He gives us, they not just be mata', but they be ni'amun wa uqba. They last in this life and in the hereafter. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Inna Allah ya'muru bil adli wal ihsani wa ita'i dhil qurba wa yanha 'anil fahsha'i wal munkari wal baghi ya'idukum la'allakum tadhakkarun. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Salatul Jumu'ah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي